Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing a 1 year Q&A. So we've been on the road for 1 year now. So we're going to go through some questions and answers.
But before that, this is the map of everything we've driven with the Genoa this year, starting from Sydney, all the way in Victoria, Tasmania, coming back to Victoria, making that big dash to WA, and all the way to the top of the border to the Northern Territory. And now
back again all the way down to Perth.
So in total, that's roughly 40,000 kilometers, which is the circumference of the world.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy when you think about it.
That's cool.
It's 9 times New York to Los Angeles, and it's almost 2 times the Australia circumference.
Cool.
And we haven't even seen the entire country.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago in our other Jeep, or older Jeep called Chinook, we actually did from Sydney to all the way up to above Cairns and into the Daintree rainforest and then back again. So we have actually, Ange and I, done most of the country, or most of the border of the country. We've obviously still got the Northern Territories to do, which we're really, really keen on, and Cape York is meant to be fantastic. And then we've got some deserts, such as the Simpson Desert, which I'm really keen to tackle as well.
So hopefully next year, 2021, we finish it off.
Yes. So as you can see, it's not our normal environment for filming, but we do have this insane saltwater fish tank with coral and everything like that in here at the place that we're staying at in Perth. So we received over 100 questions from you guys, which was so good, but it's obviously too much for us to answer in this video, or it's just going to end up being like 2 hours long. So we've sort of picked and chosen some questions that we think a lot of you wanted to know, and some of them came under kind of like a similar sort of a topic. So we're going to do a little bit of question and answering now.
Alright, first question, the most asked question actually. How much are you roughly spending per month or per week?
Ooh. Yeah, we get a lot of expense related questions and budget. It's a really hard one to answer. I personally don't chuck like every single week worth of expenses into a spreadsheet. I try not to concern myself that much with it. I kind of just keep an eye on it in my head. So normally when we're in towns and busier areas, my spending will usually go up because I'll be eating nicer food. I'll have the odd like takeaway and a coffee. And then when we were out catching fish and stuff, it brings those expenses right down. So food is the main expense there. The other big expense is things on the Jeep. So fortunately, I can do most of the servicing myself. That really helps keep the cost down.
Definitely.
And then we have legends reaching out that really help too. Like, I don't know if you'll remember, but we had 2 really bad cracks across our windscreen from the Gib. And windscreen auto repair here in Perth, like, jumped over and just said, look, we're going to sort your windscreen for you. And that would have been like, a few $100s. So things like that really help in doing that servicing.
Yes. So I'll actually look into details about how much we spend this year, and it's quite surprising. There's some big fluctuations. So for example, in April, which is our lowest month in terms of expenses, we spent $700, which is definitely not much when you live on the road. But that's because obviously that was during the lockdown, so we had barely no fuel costs. It was roughly food, I guess.
Yeah, it's just food, really.
But on the opposite hand, our highest month was in October. It was $3,800, which is quite high. And if I look into details, why was it so high? We had the awning that you would have seen in the past videos, which was $975. So obviously it blew up the budget. So you will have some like one-off expenses like that will obviously impact it. We had others this year. We had Dirk Hartog Island, which was around $800. We had obviously the mechanic issues. So for example, in August, we had some Chromoly Axles from SBR. So obviously they are quite expensive, but that was necessary for us to obviously get that sorted.
And SBR have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
So Sue and Victor, thank you so much for really helping me out. They would like message me with advice and things like that, which you just don't get from a lot of shops nowadays.
Yeah.
So yeah, big shout out to them at SBR Off-Road.
Next question, how long are your episodes taking you to edit?
A long time. It'll even surprise us when we sometimes collate how much time it's actually taken per episode, because we don't do it all on, like, say, one day. We'll gradually do it in some evenings and whenever we can get enough, charge on the laptop or whatever. So something that does take a really long time and can be really tedious is finding copyright music. So we use a couple of websites now called Epidemic Sounds, and then occasionally we'll use Artlist as well. Now, the reason we need copyright music and most copyright-free music, and most YouTubers you'll see out there, is otherwise you can't monetize through the ad revenue. So the only way you can really make any kind of money on YouTube is through Google Ads, and that has to be via copyright-free music. Otherwise, all that money would then go to the actual artist, which is understandable, of course. The other thing that takes us a lot of time is rendering the video and then re-rendering the video, because we've noticed a couple of things we may want to change, and that can be tedious. And the other main thing is that we're using a laptop to do stuff that really should be done on a desktop. I mean, we've got a pretty good laptop we're using, but running Premiere Pro with 4K video is really, really painful. And I sometimes think it would maybe be another 2 hours just of wait times, crashes, rendering, and then it starts to really add up.
Yeah, so it's all these things that you don't see behind the scene that get so frustrating. So in total, I'd say, depending on how much footage we've got, it's between 6 to maybe 9 hours of work, so very time consuming. One thing that helped along the way that we've been doing is stopping in the library, which are free in Australia, and then we can just charge our laptops and then get things like the whole morning we stay there, do some editing, and that helps a lot.
It's a good idea. That I'm thinking maybe one day we should actually start a timer every time we sit down to edit and actually work out exactly how long it takes.
You probably underestimate it.
Probably. Dogs in the background, apologies. Alright, next question.
If you could tune any vehicle other than a Jeep, what would it be?
As you know, we've got another vehicle behind the scenes right now. Still not quite ready to give that away yet. A lot of people kind of reached out and said, oh, that's really sad if you do sell the General. Please realise we are so gutted as well, and it took us a very, very long time to come to the realisation that we probably will or should move to a different vehicle. And we absolutely love the Jeep. If we could financially sort of afford to keep the Jeep as well, we 100% would. And I would probably pull off all the overlanding kind of gear, remove a lot of weight out of the vehicle and put some big coilovers on it or something, and then just turn into a bit of a rock crawling machine, because that's what would be phenomenal. But unfortunately, we've got a lot of money tied up into it right now, and we will be unfortunately needing to get that out for our next build. But it's nothing against Jeep, nothing like that. So yeah, we would keep it if we could. Now, I will give 2 clues as to what the next vehicle is. First clue, we are moving away from the Jeep brand, so it will not be any type of Jeep. And second of all, it is older than our current Jeep, which is 2015. So let's see if that narrows that down a little tiny bit.
Any guess? Actually, another clue just for you. Some people have already guessed.
They have, actually, on the last YouTube video. Yeah, some people have guessed. So, yeah, that probably narrows it down quite a lot.
But yeah, like for me, I'm super flexible with whatever Chris thinks is the best for us. I'm very happy with whatever we've done this year with the Jeep. I still think it's the great vehicle for a couple or even like a solo traveler. But I can't really imagine myself having a family in our current setup, at least. Some people do it in a trailer, but it just wouldn't work for what we've got in mind. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that new build next year. It's going to be really exciting. Did you save money before leaving, or do you work on the road? How is the bank account doing? And do you make money on the road?
So short answer, we do not make profit on the road. We're not even close. So we're hemorrhaging money badly, which can be really stressful. But I've got something in mind for the future, a future goal. So that's why I reckon we're making the right move. We've obviously spent even more money now on this other vehicle. So yeah, short answer, no, we're not making money. We do earn some money from YouTube ad revenue and our Patreon supporters. which goes a really, really long way for us. Every cent really helps when you're not really earning money, obviously. So we're basically just going to knuckle down and try and continually produce good, compelling content for you guys. We're not going to put it behind a paywall like we've seen people do when they get a little bit more famous. No intention of doing that. And hopefully the work will pay off and YouTube will grow. For instance, so it's annoying that we've got ads in our videos, right? It's a necessary evil, and I know everyone does it and stuff, but so we get paid per ad watched, not per ad that is served up to the viewer. So for instance, if you press skip ad, we don't get paid for that ad right there. We only get paid for ones that actually play through. So it's just one little way that you can support us. And yeah, please understand, I find them really annoying as well. Hopefully if our Patreon grows, we can move to a fully crowdfunded kind of a thing where we could remove the ads from YouTube altogether. That would be a really cool goal. And short term, by the end of next year, 2021, I'm really hopeful that we can be neutral on our spending. So not making money, but not hemorrhaging money. So that's kind of a goal that I've set about for us.
Yeah, so we're definitely not earning money like enough to sustain this lifestyle. Like long term, I'd say if we were keeping at this rate, we'll probably have enough money with our savings to last another year, but not more than
probably
that.
Max, max a year, I think.
And especially nowadays, we've just basically spent our house deposit money that we had kept on the side for that new rig. So it's a big risk and investment from us, but we are like confident that it will work out at the end. Any plans to sell some merchandise, stickers or t-shirts?
So every man and his dog sells cheap merch these days, like all the YouTube channels, all the figures on Instagram. I don't want to go down that road. It would also be difficult for us to do that anyway, because we don't have a home base to keep all this merchandise and then send it off to you guys. If we do something, I want it to be of high quality, I want it to be something really unique, and I want it to be in limited quantities. So we may do something along the lines like maybe a really nice hat or something like that. Yeah,
so we are obviously redoing our logo very soon. So potentially early next year we may have some stickers, which will be very nice that you can have the outfit logo on your rig as well. How has traveling to Australia together changed you as a person and your relationship?
Oh, so
big question.
Yeah, so obviously we're together 24/7, which can be difficult in itself, rewarding but difficult. I've mostly noticed with Ange more recently, I guess, especially with this new kind of build we've got going on, I can get very carried away and excited about something out of nowhere that'll just come to me. And then, you know, when you go to someone, you're super excited about something, another complete opposite, they're just like, what are you talking about? I don't get it. That's a stupid idea. And then it really drops you in your tracks. That happens quite a lot lately, I find. And then I call Ange pessimistic and she says she's being realistic, which is fair enough. But that is something that will really kind of put me down sometimes for the whole day, and I'll struggle to get my positivity back. But that's something we're kind of working on, isn't it, a little bit? And
in my defense, Chris wanted to put a V8 in the Jeep and I had to change his mind.
Hey, it's a good idea, just financially not really smart, but anyway. And then the other thing is, I mean, we're pretty rock solid. We have the occasional bad argument, but it's very rare. There's nothing really toxic, which I like. But one thing I would like to try and minimize next year is we bicker a lot about small things. I find it'll just be all day long, sometimes every day. We'll just kind of be bickering, and then after a while it's just an energy drain, right? So that's something I want to work on next year.
And just to be totally transparent, most of the bickering is actually evolving around work and the YouTube channel, because we don't have the same point of view, we disagree on some ridiculous things. So that is something that if you don't have a business with your partner, you don't have to worry about. That's one thing less to worry.
Yeah, it does add a lot of stress.
But for me overall, I think this year made us closer. We went through some pretty crazy things, challenging times, and as well like some great memories that we've had on the road. So I'll say I'm really happy that we did travel together. What top 3 pointers would you give to someone looking to start their own overland adventure?
Ooh, top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so first one, don't use top Instagram accounts for your inspiration. They're hugely doctored. It never looks like that behind the scenes, and if it does, it's super rare. So that's something that I think would really potentially ruin the experience, because you're looking at something that's been hugely doctored online, and it just doesn't even look like that in real life. So try not to have your expectations set by famous Instagram accounts, which can be hard. 2, I would say, before you go out on the road and do something, say even full-time, you need to know that you need to crave the lifestyle, not just all the positive things and the travel and the glam kind of side of things. You need to really crave every aspect of it. You need to know you're going to break down. You need to know you're going to run out of fuel. You need to know it's going to be expensive. You're going to deal with bugs. You're going to be scared sometimes, bad weather, things like that. You really need to be craving that lifestyle. And then thirdly, I would say, before you do set out, imagine the worst case scenario you could ever think of. So something like, you're stranded in a desert in the middle of nowhere, you've got no phone reception, it's boiling hot, you don't know what you're going to do, you've got no one to turn to, things like that, because rest assured something like that's going to happen at some point. It's just a sheer matter of statistics. And if you still look at that and be like, okay, no, I can deal with something like that in order to have the positives at the other end of the spectrum, then it is for you.
For me, I would say you don't need the flashes setup. I've had so many people come to us and be like, oh, but we don't have this, we don't have that. You don't need it. We started with like such a small setup and still managed to get away. So don't be deterred by that. You don't need it to start. You can just upgrade along the way easily. Then my second point, I'd say just get used to going more often, like do longer trips, like long weekends, and if you've got the opportunity to take more like holiday, like a 2 or 3 week road trip, that would be amazing. We did that on the East Coast 2 years ago, and I think that was a great way to get used to your gear. And the last one, be a bit flexible with your bookings, or don't book too much in advance. So for example, for us, I would say we kind of like have regrets booking the return ferry ticket from Tasmania. We didn't have any deadline basically, but for some reason we booked a return ticket and we felt a little bit rushed to explore the island in 6 weeks. You can spend so long over there. So yeah, in any kind of like accommodation booking or anything, just maybe sometimes try to not book too much in advance and leave a bit of flexibility to your itinerary.
Good points.
What has been the highest of high and the lowest of low for you?
So I reckon one awesome thing, which kind of gets me stoked every time, is when guys come up to me like in the gym or like in Bunnings or at the gas station and like put their hand out, shake my hand and say like, really like your videos, been watching your stuff, find it inspiring or something like that. And that gets me really chuffed, because I always think of myself, in my mind as just, bullied, geeky kid, not exceptionally cool in any way at school. So I find that like really neat for me, because I've never really had people, come up and just, want to be my mate or whatever. So I reckon that's really, really cool. And the other one would be just the sheer amount of wildlife that we've seen on this trip. As you guys know, I love wildlife so much, and we've just seen the most awesome stuff, like anything from like thorny devils, the lizards, kangaroos, koalas in the wild, and then all the amazing sea life like whales, dugongs, dolphins. Recently, since we've been here, this legend on Perth custom charters took us out one day and we ended up swimming with sea lions at Karnak Island, just near Perth, which was so cool. Got a few clips from that, so I'll roll those now. And then probably the lowest of lows would have been towards the end of the lockdown for us in Albany, when it was really wet and cold. And we're sitting there shivering with nothing to do all day, living out of our car. And I'm just thinking to myself, what have I done to us, kind of thing. We've sold everything. All we really own is this vehicle, and everything's basically just gone to shit. So that was probably the low.
But the lockdown in Western Australia didn't last too long, so that was really fortunate in that respect. For me, I'd say the highest of high, I don't have like a particular moment, but I'll say it's overall when I look back, it's the morning routine that we've had, like waking up in a new place almost every day, having coffee made by Chris, and having like our ginger nut biscuits every single morning, and just like enjoying the surrounding and not having to rush to go to work, and it's just a nice way to start your day. So definitely my best part of the year. And then I'll say the lowest of low is probably the breakdown on the Gib. It was the most stressful situation I've ever been in. It could have been much worse, that's for sure, but it was still not ideal. I didn't know what to do, so basically I was just trying to help Chris as much as I could, but luckily he got us back on the road. But yeah, that was definitely not a good day.
No.
How long do you normally stay in one spot? Does your 12-volt setup allow you to stay for long periods of time?
We normally move quite regularly just because we both get itchy feet. Like, we both like to really explore, and when we just sit in one location, yeah, we kind of get a bit angsty. We're like, oh, you know, what's around the corner? Which sometimes can be a negative, because we'll move to another place and it won't be anywhere near as good as we realised or kind of thought. And then we kind of wish we'd stayed a bit longer. So we move around a lot. The other reason is obviously for you guys, for YouTube, because we want to be filming new content, and if we stay in one spot for long, it gets harder and harder for us to be excited about what we're filming, and it kind of becomes the norm for us. So it's good to move around, new scenery, new terrain, new experiences. But overall, our 12-volt setup is so basic. And it's failed us a few times, mainly when the solar panel on the roof has just decided to die. I think because it's been too hot. But that's always been covered under warranty. So, but overall, like, the 12-volt setup's been pretty good. Even though it's really basic, it has really kept us going for a year. And I think one of the main reasons of that is because of how sunny it is for us, and we've kind of been chasing the sun for this whole trip. If it was rainy and overcast, for instance, like Tasmania or something like that, it wouldn't have lasted. We'd have to drive every single day to use that alternator to charge the battery. So there's a huge room for improvement with the setup, but you don't need the best thing all the time. So it's good to, hopefully we'll upgrade, and then we'll know kind of the difference, and that'll be good.
So at the beginning of the trip, it was really unusual for us to stay more than 2 nights in the same spot. We were always like, go, go, go. Chris was almost driving every day somewhere, which was definitely not ideal, especially for you. So I'll say with the lockdown, it helped us to slow down a little bit, because after, every time we liked a location, we were actually spending longer there. So for example, in Exmouth in July, we spent more than a month and a half kind of like in the same area, and I think that was really good to really take our time and enjoy each location a little bit more. So if your 12-volt setup allows you to do that, definitely stay longer in one spot if you like it. You guys are amazing together and have such a great vibe. When are you going to be throwing a little one into the mix? And how do you think that would change your approach in the adventures?
So I'm 34 years old in January next year, 2021. And I've always told myself, just for as long as I can remember, that I want to be a dad by the time I'm 35, you know, if everything sort of works out. So yeah, we are really keen to have a kid on the road in the next couple of years. And as you guys already know, that's the main reason why we've got this other project in the works, is to kind of future-proof ourselves for having a very small family. And like we obviously don't know from experience, and like a lot of people have reached out and said like you can't have a young child on the road the whole time. It's just not possible, and you don't realise how difficult it's going to be. And I'm sure they're 100% right, and we don't know from experience. But I think we'll probably have to stop maybe for 6 months when the child is born, and just to consolidate and everything like that for Ange as well. And then hopefully we'll be able to go on the road from there. And kind of what I'm telling myself is, for hundreds of years, all cultures throughout the world have had babies on horseback for extended periods of time. So I'm sure it's doable, but yeah, we'll see.
Not that we're gonna do that, but
No.
you get the idea. Yeah, so we are very aware that it's gonna be difficult, and we're gonna have to make some changes and compromises to our current lifestyle. But at the same time, we don't want to completely change our life. We want to keep doing what we love and exploring and living on the road and overlanding. So this is the plan. So if you are a family who's currently doing that or plan to do that, if you've got any tips for us, please make sure to share them with us in the comments. Or if you've got any recommendation of like YouTube channels or anything we really like to watch, for example, Céline La Vagabonde, they are such an inspiring family. So yeah, just let us know. And a final question.
Hope you're still here, guys.
What gave you both the confidence to quit your jobs and travel full time?
Oh, so it wasn't really a matter of confidence for me at all. It was more of a matter of when and how. Because like I've got a pretty big imagination. For my whole life I've wanted to always be some sort of adventurer or explorer. And I always told myself, you know, if I ever became a millionaire, that probably won't happen, but if I ever became a millionaire, I would become like a full-time treasure hunter on a boat or something like that. So for me, I knew I always wanted to do something like this, but yeah, again, it was just a matter of when I was going to do it and how I was going to go about doing it. So yeah, it wasn't a matter of confidence for me. I don't think it just sort of fell into place, and I'm really glad we did it when we did.
Yeah, and to give a bit of context, I think, so we were both living in Sydney together. We were paying quite expensive rents.
Yes.
We're getting a bit bored with our jobs. We've seen most of what we wanted to see around Sydney. So we just needed a change of scene. And me, personally, I've been in Australia for 6 years. I was craving seeing what else Australia has to offer, so see all the different states. So I'm so glad we went on the road. We haven't seen it all yet, but I'm really excited for next year.
Yeah, wow. So that's 12 months for us on the road full time, flown by. Can't believe how fast it's gone. Kind of thought that it would just seem like forever and would be bored, but it hasn't been like that at all, eh? This is kind of our year-long wrap-up video, I guess, and then we'll crack into it straight away, really. There probably won't really be a break, and we've got some big things coming, which I think you guys will enjoy.
Yes.
So yeah, stick around for the coming stuff.
Yeah, so thank you so much for the support this year. We had a goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and now we are almost at 15,000, so it's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Now, next goal is 20,000 subscribers.
20k, so if you watch any of our stuff, you get something from it, please just consider hitting that subscribe button, because even though it doesn't seem like much, and it sometimes can be a bit of a chore to do, we don't get money from that, but what it does is YouTube then favors us more, and it will dish our videos out to more and more people, so more people can actually see, you know, what we're doing, the lifestyle and things like that. So it really goes a long way. Just even the like, the sub, the comments, it all really helps. And appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully you got something out of the Q&A.